I'm Jennifer Smith, a clinical psychologist and the CEO of Link Care. Link Care is a nonprofit Christian counseling center that services pastors, missionaries, and those in our local community to promote healing and restoration. Our church should be concerned about trauma-informed care because trauma affects all of us in our community. It's widely experienced across many domains. It doesn't discriminate based on socioeconomic status or gender or anything. The more that we know about how to care for ourselves and those in our community that have been impacted by trauma, the more that we'd be better served to help them heal and restore. The third principle of trauma-informed care is peer support. A peer is a person with the lived experience of trauma. Or in the case of a child who's experienced trauma, the peer would be their primary caregiver who is walking with them in the healing process. Peers are people with similar experiences, so peer support really reflects a model of care where we come together around a shared experience and we process together the strengths that we're learning so that we can promote healing and restoration in our lives. The goal of peer support is on mutual understanding and sharing of the traumatic experience. We're taking an empathic and non-judgmental approach to hearing what the experience is of the other person. The goal here is not to look at it as a pathological response, but someone's behavior is really expected or anticipated given what they have been through. And so we really want to focus on hearing, listening, not bringing our own experiences to the table, but really getting into the other person's shoes and understanding what it was like for them. So asking a lot of questions will be key in this experience. What was that like for you? As a peer, this often feels very natural because you are relating based on your own experiences. So when someone is sharing a story, you may have a memory from an event that you experienced, and you may find yourself saying something like, "It makes sense to me that you responded that way. You were scared." I haven't had that exact response, but sometimes I act a certain way when I am scared too. It is also a high value in peer support that we are communicating honestly about our experiences. This is very different in cases where a power differential might exist, such as in the doctor-patient relationship or in the pastor-congregant relationship in the church. In this way, peer support is really focused on reciprocity, mutually sharing, and being honest about our experiences. So we're able to have some give and take. We both receive support. We both share about what's going on for us, and we both hear and receive support from one another. Here are a few questions you and your church can ask as you think about peer support. How is your experience of empathy in the church? Is it different from sympathy, and do you know the difference? Empathy is that shared experience again of I am stepping into your shoes. I am trying to understand your experience. Whereas sympathy is more like I feel sorry for you. You are making me feel a certain way about what's going on for you. And so when we're coming together as a church, I would love for us to have this experience of empathy where we allow people to really be present with their story and we sit with them in that. Honesty within the church is incredibly important. So I would challenge you to ask yourself and your church, how honest are we? And do we allow place for honesty within the church? This really looks like allowing us to share difficult truths, maybe some hard things that we wouldn't anticipate. And so if someone is sharing something really difficult or hard for us to hear, what do we do with that? Do we allow that to be present within the church? Do we try to jump in and fix it or correct it maybe? Often we might find ourselves not wanting to sit in that uncomfortable place, and so we move it along into something that's a little more comfortable for us. But honesty is incredibly important as we pursue peer support. One more question to consider for yourself and your church is, what about self-care? Is self-care emphasized in the church? And really what I mean by that is, are we able to keep healthy boundaries for ourselves, for members that are around us, for our peers, for our friends? Do we model taking vacation? Well, really taking vacation. Do we model delegating work so that it's not the duty of one person to be responsible for everything? Self-care is so important if we're going to be a trauma-informed church because we have to care for other people, which starts with caring for ourselves. In peer support, it's important that we meet people where they are and have respect for the story that they want to share. We can't force people to feel something or tell us something that they're not willing to share. It's an incredible honor and privilege to sit with someone and hear the intimate details of their story and their traumatic experience. And so having respect for what they want to share at their timing and pace is vital. It's important that we don't under-exaggerate our experiences in the peer support model. And what I mean by that is we don't want to be so dismissive about what it was like for us. You might hear people say things like, it wasn't that big of a deal, or it happened so long ago, or this happens to everybody. These are ways that we really limit what the real experience was for us. And so we want to be very honest and forthcoming about what it was like when we're in a peer support model. This really builds safety and trust, and it allows us to be very vulnerable. When peer support is done well, it creates a safe setting where I can be very transparent about what's happened to me and about what my experience was like, and then I can start to promote some healing for myself. One final encouragement, church. We have an incredible opportunity here to provide support and healing to those that we care for. The church is a vessel. Remember, we're not here to fix anything or solve any big problems. We get to be here to support and encourage and love on those that are around us. We were created to be in relationships. We heal in relationships. This really is the cornerstone for us.